Hey guys, it's QuickyBaby and welcome back to World of Tanks, and this time we've got the pleasure of watching Savov777, who's from the Russian server, playing in his Tier 8 Soviet premium heavy tank, the IS-6. Now, in the run-up to Christmas, I really wanted to get you guys some truly special replays, so stay tuned. There is some remarkable things going to happen in this. This is one of the greatest replays that I've ever seen. It is from a year ago, and I have no idea how this slipped under my radar, and I was unable to get it for you guys earlier. So, Savov, as I mentioned, is playing in the IS-6. Considering the IS-3A just came out on both the European and the American server, what does this tank still have going for it? Well, it has preferential matchmaking, which means that it very frequently finds itself in a game like this, where a third of the enemy tanks are Tier 8, third are Tier 7, and third are Tier 6. And the ELC-AMX on the enemy team is actually the only Tier 5. Decided that he wanted to, you know, feed Savov that first kill. I'm sure he was very thankful for that free 400 damage at the beginning of the game. You might be thinking, wow, 400 damage? What gun does this vehicle get? Got 122mm, doesn't have the best penetration, which is kind of what balances out that preferential matchmaking. This tank never meets Tier 10s, and so that's why it's got a horrible 175mm of penetration at Tier 8. It's basically a very similar gun, or the same gun that you would see on a Tier 7 heavy tank, such as the KV-3 or the IS. So the IS-6 also has some other good things going for it, and that is some rather decent armor. To be able to get through this tank, you really need about 200mm of penetration, if the armor is angled correctly, as Savov is going to show you throughout this replay. Talking about KV-3s, there's one right in front of him, taking some huge chunks out of that Tier 7 Soviet heavy tank. This is where you want to be against a KV-3, right on his side, not exposing his side armor, and what a shot there, right into the back of the tank. Savov penetrated him, set him on fire, and then he got spotted as he was ready to come out the oven, so to say. That poor KV-3, great shot there. So Savov must feel like he's on quite a roll, already picking up 2 kills so far this game. And that fire on the KV-3, that's enough to get anyone's blood boiling. Not done yet. He takes out the T-29 on the enemy team, who's called Zuba, which I think is the equivalent of a bison. Peppity, am I right? Zuba is like the Belarusian bison, right? Yep, that guy is named after a bison. Pretty cool there. Who's next on the chopping board? Maybe this AMX 1375. Oh yes, 360 damage done there. You know what? 3 minutes into the game, this would already be a great round for many IS-6 drivers. Over 2,000 damage done and 4 kills picked up. And you know what? Savov still has all of his health remaining. Looks like this one could be a bit of a golden moment. So, his whole team has collapsed on the north and collapsed on the south. He must feel right now that it is pretty much 1 versus 29, right guys? He's the only person on his team who's picked up a kill. And yet so many of his other Tier 8 heavy tanks have died. And oh, unfortunately, it looks like the other Tier 8 heavy tank is, I don't know, he's gone to get something. Maybe his mum called out for him. He had to go downstairs for a little bit. Who knows? So that means that Savov is now alone versus 4 Tier 8 heavy tanks. Well, when I say alone, as in no more Tier 8s left on his team. He's alone against 5 Tier 8 tanks, a Tier 8 self-propelled gun, and then a bunch of other vehicles. So an Su-100 tries to take a swing at him from behind. Savov turns his arm around, goes out, has a little peek, one-shots the Su-100. That's a great result that he one-shot that tank, because now he's dealt with the tanks that are behind him, and now he can focus on the tanks that are in front of him. Now he shoots at the VK-3601, unable to go through him there. That's a bit of a disappointment. But angling his armor well for the VK, he needs to finish off the low health tanks first. Great job killing that Tier 6 German heavy tank, and now he can focus on the KV-4. He's going for the top of the turret, which isn't the weakest, but it looks like he is firing these APCR rounds now. They certainly don't have 175mm of penetration. They've got 217. There's no question that Savov is riding his luck here. But he's also doing everything that he needs to do right. He's focusing the correct targets, he's going to the correct places, and quite often that's half the battle in World of Tanks. The 5100 has made its way into the base and just slaughtered the Crusader SP, who I think slipped down the slope. I'm not sure if he's going to drown himself. Will the Crusader SP drown? Savov's not worried about that. He comes around the corner and takes out another Tier 8 heavy tank, getting the Tiger II. And no, actually the 5100 didn't, well, the Crusader SP didn't manage to drown himself, and the 5100 on the enemy team shuts him down. Now he's going against this 5100. 5100 is a tank that uses a huge magazine, 100mm with 6 300 alpha damage shots, but it has an equally ginormous reload time, so hopefully Savov is going to manage to catch him. And unfortunately for him, the IS on his team falls, and oh god, that accuracy on the IS-6, hey? Don't want to be missing these shots. Every shot gives that 5100 an extra few seconds to be able to reload. And Savov is now 1 versus 7. Can he shut down this 5100 before he reloads? Come on, come on, come on, come on. Please don't make that miss a costly one. So he took that extra shot because of the miss that he put into the 5100's turret. Dodges 2 artillery shells. That's a great result. He only took 1 hit from that 5100. He's on 9 kills and 4,700 damage. And the chat is now going crazy. His team were constantly bickering, blaming each other. You did this wrong on that flank, you did that wrong on that flank. And then slowly but surely they start to realize, hey, who's this guy? Who's Savov? He's picked up 9 kills already. And they start to think, they start to say in chat, carry us is what they're saying. And then they also begin to talk about the fact that most of the remaining tanks are on fairly low health, and that's got to be a massive boost, a massive morale boost for Savov. Because trying to deal with so many Tier 8 heavy tanks in a row in an IS-6, which really isn't meant to be able to compete with them, so to say, would be a great feat. Nice shot there into the top of the T-34. The top of the turret on that tank is rather weak indeed. And a good penetrating shot, but unfortunately his last APCR round. And so now he's got no premium ammunition left to deal with the remaining 5 tanks on the enemy team, including an IS-3. And trust me, when you're dealing with the front of an IS-3, or it's much like an IS-6, you want to have about 200 to 225 millimeters of penetration to give yourself a very good chance of going through its armor. So Savov decides that he's not going to faff around and go up north. He's going to take it to the enemy team. I'm not sure about this. I'm not sure if he should put himself in the open here. Remember, there's 3 artillery, but then again, the longer he leaves it, the longer he allows the enemy team to get organized, and he appears to catch them completely ill-prepared. That IS-3 is on 7 hit points. It's a shame that Savov hasn't got any high explosive rounds in his tank to be able to put one anywhere near his vehicle. Luckily for him, however, the IS was also on low health, and he shuts him down, picking up his 11th kill for 5,184 damage. Will this shot go in? Oh, this is where you want those premium rounds. Now the IS-3 is giving him a lot of drama, and there's 3 artillery on the enemy team. Come on, don't miss this one. Don't miss this one. Oh my word, the IS-3 made a catastrophic misplay there, over-angling his side armor to allow Savov to be able to pick up his 12th kill this game. And now he's alone versus 3 self-propelled guns on the enemy team. 2 of them are in a platoon together, and one of them is a rather nasty M40-43 that you've got to watch out for. That alpha damage is huge. He tries to snipe into the GW Panther, and while he has been getting lucky at some times in this game, he certainly hasn't been getting lucky at others, with a couple of the shots missing, a couple of the shots bouncing, but what do you expect with his 122mm gun? So it's super tense now. And his team are asking the enemy artillery to get out their tanks and give Savov the win. But the artillery are not going to be doing that, as we're going to see in a minute. Even the enemy team right now is cheering on Savov. This is absolutely ridiculous. The M40-43 puts a big hit in there. Now Savov is just at half of his remaining hit points. Will he be able to get down this slope and deal with an unspotted 40-43 as well as an M44? There's the M44 still behind that rock. He manages to spot him, but also gets spotted by the M44 as well. Savov can't manage to get a shot over that rock. The M40-43 is going to be reloading. This is very tense. He's well within the range of a one-shot now from that Tier 8 American self-propelled gun. But luckily for him, it doesn't look like the M44 is doing much apart from spotting Savov right now. Oh my gosh, there's the M40-43. He puts a huge shot in, damaging the gun of Savov. But yes, he takes him down with a single hit, and it looks like the M44 was AFK at the end of the game, allowing Savov to finish him off with a completely stylish and unnecessary ammo rack to secure 15 kills in a Tier 8 tank, something I have never seen and couldn't find anywhere, ever in the history of World of Tanks. The end of this round nearly turned into probably the ultimate heartbreak of all time, with the M40-43 taking Savov to within an inch of his life. Thankfully, that wasn't to be, and that allowed Savov to secure the final 2 kills of the game. What an absolutely astounding round of World of Tanks. Savov seemed to keep remarkably cool during this replay, considering what a high-pressure situation he was in, and I'm sure that he realized at that point what he was going for as he tried to take on that IS-3, the IS, and the 3 artillery. I think if I'd been in Savov's situation, I would have been sweating like a little pig. Probably my heart would have been pounding, and I'm sure I would have managed to mess it up somewhere. So let's just take a very quick look at the post-game stats. So Savov picked up a whole host of the rarest medals in the game. He got the Kolobanov's medal, and boy, what a Kolobanov's this was, standing alone against 7 in a Tier 8 tank. As well as the rarest medal in the game, one that I've never been able to pick up myself, the Rozene Heroes Medal, for destroying at least 14 opponents. Savov also picked up the Pascucci's medal for killing 3 self-propelled guns, and unsurprisingly a high caliber medal for being the top on damage, 6,661 to be exact. And how much experience do you get for having a round of this caliber? Well, 2,243 base experience points. That's 3,700 with a premium account for the IS-6 without any extra multipliers like your daily double. It was amazing how few shots Savov took this game. He only received 8 hits, killing his opponents before they were able to fight back. And maybe this really was a case of the stars aligning. 181,000 credits received and over 110,000 credits profit, even though he fired all of those APCR rounds. So seeing how this replay was played out on the Russian server, I only see it fit to try and say thank you in Russian. Savov shim. Спасибо большое за реплей. Вы все выключая. Меня болели за вас. И это одна из самых лучших игр, что я видел. Надеюсь, вы не возражаете, что я делюсь вашей игрой с англоязычным сообществом. Спасибо вам большое еще раз. And in English, thank you so much for this great replay. It's one of the best I have ever seen in World of Tanks. And I hope you don't mind me sharing this with the English-speaking community. And if you guys, like me, enjoyed this replay, or maybe I just made you laugh with my terrible Russian pronunciation, then please consider giving this video a like down below. It really helps the channel out. And if this video has sparked your interest in the Tier 8 Soviet Premium Heavy Tank, then simply click through up here and you can go through to see a hell of a round by Inner Silence in his IS-6. And let me know in the comments down below, what is the highest number of kills you have ever seen somebody get in a game that you have been in, either on your own team or on the enemy team? Personally for me, it's 12. And as always, thank you so much for watching. You've been epic, and hopefully I'll see you soon.